It's time to celebrate IU fans. Indiana is 6-0, and it's just you rank them, we spank them. It's it. It's the football. It's the football motto now. Men's basketball has transferred it over, and for all the people that were like, "Oh, we rank teams, you went away from home." Zip it.
Suck
Illinois
it.
cooked. Oregon cooked. How high is the sky? What's the ceiling? Where can Indiana go from here? Incredible, incredible scenes in Eugene. Of course, on a Saturday where game day was in Oregon, Indiana walked in there and came out with a 30-20 win, and frankly, they deserved every bit of it. There was not much of an element of fluke to what Indiana did. They outgained Oregon, they outrushed Oregon, they outpassed Oregon, they outcoached Oregon, and I think the Ducks can still win a national title. So,
Yeah.
Matt and I are going to dig into everything that happened in Indiana's 30-20 win over Oregon on the road in true road fashion. What are the impacts? What are the consequences? What are the ramifications? Where do we go from here? Can we start talking about banners in football? We're going to talk about all that and so much more here on episode 353 of the Hoosier Sound, where I am your host, Nithin Krishnan, alongside my co-host, Matt Lukens. Matt, people were buzzing over on Indiana HQ all game yesterday. The mentions were off the charts. Even rolling into this morning, IU fans are in a state of Hoosier ecstasy and heaven that we haven't seen. It was a great win over Illinois. It was a great win over Nebraska last year. Those are pretty epic. But going on the road, beating a top three team in the country that looks every bit like a national title contender with an elite head coach, an excellent quarterback, and an amazing defense, and you walk in there and you won by 10? What are your sort of initial comments, observations from the best win in program history, if you ask me?
No, I don't think it's if you ask you.
Yeah.
I think it's undeniably the
Yep.
best win in program history. And I don't think you need to be some sort of like IU aficionado. Just understand, like, I mean, the simple stat everybody brought up yesterday after IU won was IU was 0 and 46 in top five road games, right? And now is 1 and 46 in
Yep.
top five road games.
Yep.
You know, and that wasn't a fluke. You said that in the
Yeah.
opening. It wasn't a fluke. We beat them up and down the field. We were better on special teams. By what? Where did that come from? Where did the 58-yard field goal come
Brendan
from?
Frankie, baby. Shout
Brendan
out Brendan
Frankie, by
Frankie.
the
Yeah.
way, might even be MVP because I think he really that field goal is a turning point in that game. Because I really think the teams IU played better than Oregon in the first half, but didn't take advantage of some of the drives that they
Hmm.
had and left a lot of points on the board or left a lot of opportunities, I should say, um,
Yep. Yep.
on
Yep.
the
Yep.
field. And then to drive down the field with so little time left and kick not one, but two 58-yard field goals. Fantastic. Hats off to him.
Yeah.
And obviously gave the Hoosiers the lead going into half, right? And then,
Yeah.
Oregon was trailing and trying to claw their way back the rest of the game. Um, but no, I mean Mendoza played fantastic. Even the one interception he had, um, it is his fault because why are you throwing off your back foot? Um, from one hash to another. Like that's just
Mm,
like that's QB play, that's rule number one. They're like rule number one of QB play is don't throw it late over the middle.
yep.
And rule number two is if you're throwing from one hash to the other, don't throw off your back foot, step
Yeah.
into it.
Late off your
Right?
back
Now
foot. Yeah.
to be fair to him, right? Um he did have pressure in his face on that throw. So, I'm gonna at least credit that a little
Yeah.
bit with the pick. But
And the corner that picked it off was an
I
excellent player, Brandon Finney. He's a
he's a
freshman and
fresh dude.
he's
There's
a
so
lockdown corner who I think came into this game with the lowest passer rating allowed in the entire sport in the FBS as a freshman for Oregon. If you threw the ball at him, you were basically, terrible when trying to do that,
these
and he proved it.
this Oregon team is insane.
They are.
There's so many freshmen. There's so many freshmen playing, and
They
they're
are
all so
outstanding.
good. They're all outstanding. Hats off to them and
Yeah.
their recruiting staff. But anyways, I digress. Indiana played one hell
Yeah.
of a game. I don't think Indiana played as
No,
well as they
I agree.
can play.
I
I
agree.
don't think they played their A game. They played the game,
C
right?
plus, like as far as what they're capable of doing, even on the road.
I think it may
False
be
start
B minus,
penalties, false start, sure, but like
B
false start
minus, B
penalties,
minus,
Mendoza a little
because
bit, with the
a
interception.
lot but everything you're talking about is on offense. The defensive side of the
Sure.
ball played a damn near an A+ game,
Yeah,
right?
explosive play to Benson for the
They only
touchdown.
gave up 13 points
Yeah,
the whole game
yeah.
because the seven was a pick six. That's not on them, right? The defense
Oh,
showed up
sure. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
and
Yep.
played an A+ game, right? And really held this explosive Oregon offense. I mean,
Yeah.
they made Dante Moore what I talked
Work.
about previous, right? Was I think Dante Moore is extremely inexperienced. When you look up and down the Big Ten,
Yep.
the one thing that Indiana I knew had going into this year
Yep.
was Mendoza's played a ton of games, a ton
Yes.
of games. He's
Yeah.
seen so much film, right? Oregon and Ohio State, the two favorites, prohibitive favorites for the Big Ten title,
Hmm.
both of them had pretty inexperienced quarterbacks at the helm, right? And
And then
Ohio
there's Penn and
State,
then there's Penn State.
yeah, which is why I picked them to win the Big Ten, and then, well, that's a whole. Well, we can talk about that
Ooh.
later.
Ooh.
But IU has the advantage because we have a rock star at QB
Yeah.
who's not going. He can throw a pick six and then lead a giant. I don't know how to say this without getting us DMCA'd. Or getting us
It
demonetized.
was unbelievable. Like
Just
incredible toughness,
putting
mental
putting
toughness.
his meat on the
Yeah. Oh
table,
boy.
right? There you go. See,
Sure.
meat.
That's
Yeah. No, but seriously, he just a big boy drive.
yeah.
That is what title winning, conference winning, national championship contending teams do, right? When their back is against the wall, they make a mistake, they get up, they get back on that horse,
Yeah.
right? And they shove the ball into the face of the opponent
Yep.
and just slowly, methodically drive down the field and score.
Matt,
And that was
after
impressive
the
as drive as I've seen as an IU fan. As impressive as a drive.
after the Colin Dixon touchdown for Illinois in the first quarter, do you remember what Indiana did on the drive after that? What was the result of that drive? Illinois scored the
Touchdown?
touchdown. Yep, okay, correct. One
Yeah.
for one.
Yeah.
After Iowa picked off Mendoza in the fourth quarter a couple weeks ago, do you remember what Indiana
Yeah.
did on the drive after that?
Drove down the field. Field goal or touchdown? Touchdown.
Well, touchdown. Two for
Yeah.
two. After Malik Benson scored a 44-yard touchdown yesterday in the first half for Oregon, do you remember what Indiana did on the drive after that?
Drove down the field and scored a touchdown.
Roman Hemby right through Dylan Thieneman,
R-
finished through contact across the goal line,
By
made
the
it
way,
10-7.
Dylan Thieneman still can't stop
He's
losing to IU. He still can't stop losing to
he's
us.
seeing Hoosier the Bison in his nightmares. And after the interception, the pick six yesterday by Brandon Finney, do you remember what Indiana did on the drive that followed?
What I just talked about.
So,
Drove down the
so
field and scored a touchdown.
So it's 4 out of 4, right? And and again, I kind of like how you put it. It is really drives down the field. It's not a one play explosive thing that Indiana does, but it's Mendoza and the offense saying, "Hey, look, all right, we made a mistake," or you know what, the defense gave up a big play. Let's lock in. Let's be even better. Let's elevate. Let's take it to the next level. Let's throw out one or two of the mistakes that we made on that big play that we gave up, whether it's, the defense adjusting. We've seen the secondary adjust now, right? Illinois had the big play touchdown, Colin Dixon early. The secondary adjusted, made Luke Altmaier's life miserable. After the defense gave up the big play touchdown to Malik Benson yesterday, the secondary adjusted, made Dante Moore's life miserable. And Luke Altmaier and Dante Moore are two of the best QBs in the league if you take Mendoza out of the conversation. So it was truly epic to see Indiana do that for 60 minutes. It was start to finish. There were some blips here and there. It's always going to be the way. It's always going to be the case in a top three road environment. But I like what you said about Mendoza, right? Like, okay, so does he make a mistake once a game in hostile road environments? Fine, maybe. Everyone does. At least one. Especially when you're playing 80,000 people at Kinnick or Autzen or whatever. Mendoza was probably going to make a mistake in a CFP game when we fast forward a couple months from now. But the reason we talked about in the offseason why Curt Cignetti and Mike Shanahan wanted number 15 as their starting quarterback was because you get that extra upside that you just don't get with pretty much any other quarterback in college football. You get a guy who can throw a 50-yard rope down the sideline to EJ Williams, which is what Mendoza did against Iowa at Kinnick. You get a guy who can throw to all parts of the field, left, right, sidelines, between the numbers,
Yep.
between the hash marks, short, intermediate, deep. He can hit all the areas of the football field. He can run. We've seen mobility. We saw a couple of big runs yesterday, especially in the first half, on the drive after the Malik Benson touchdown, where Mendoza scrambled for 10, 15, 16 yards to get Indiana in first and goal territory before Hemby powered through Thieneman at the goal line. This is the type of player Curt Cignetti targeted in the portal to bring over. Of course, hey, having the brother on the team, look, hey, maybe Alberto's taking snaps next year. We'll see how that goes. But there was a reason. And that's the beauty of Curt Cignetti's overall like mindset, his game plan. Everything, everything has a reason. Everything has a justification for it. You go out and you get Fernando Mendoza. Well, what's the book on Fernando Mendoza? He kind of struggles when there's a lot of people in his face, when he's under pressure constantly, when guys are in his face. So let me not abandon him. Let me go out and also get Roman Hemby. How great was Roman Hemby yesterday? Incredible. Incredible as a runner, outstanding as a receiver, a major difference maker for Indiana yesterday. Let's go out and get an
Yeah.
offensive line, in addition to what we have returning from the 24 season, that keeps Mendoza clean. How amazing have Carter Smith and Bray Lynch been this season? Outstanding.
Mm.
Carter Smith is the best left tackle in college football, arguably, to this point in the season. Can you have our debates about some other guys maybe, but yesterday Carter Smith did not give up the pressure against the ferocious pass rush against Oregon. Guys like Matayo Uyunglele and an outstanding defensive line that Oregon has. The blitz packages that Dan Lanning's defense throws at you. Carter Smith, perfect game as far as pressures allowed. 0 out of 34. By the way, he did the same thing against Iowa. How good is Iowa's defense? Pretty good. Carter Smith, 0 pressures allowed over the course of that game, too. So back-to-back road games for Carter Smith. He hasn't given up a pressure, let alone a sack, to his QB1. But then you also go out and get Pat Coogan. I saw a pregame speech that Pat Coogan gave yesterday. I almost ran through a wall at 1 a.m. I mean, this is a guy that's ready to go. I mean, Pat Coogan was ready to roll. Came over with the big game experience from Notre Dame. You go get a blocker and a halfback or a H back tight end like Riley Nowakowski made so much sense. It's just everything happens for a reason with Curt Cignetti. Everything has a purpose when he goes out and attacks the portal. He's at such an elite level right now as a college football head coach. As you pointed out, man, it's the first top five road win in school history. It's the first top five win since 1967. I think Indiana was what, something like 1-71 against top five teams in school history until yesterday. Now make it two. Indiana's hit list since the start of last year now includes Nebraska, Washington, Michigan, Michigan State, UCLA. I'm talking about Illinois, Iowa, Oregon. Curt Cignetti is 17-2 as a head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers.
With the only two losses being to the people that played for the national championship last year, by the way.
And had Curt Cignetti lost yesterday, it might have been a third team that played for a national championship that he would
Yeah,
have lost to, and it would have been on the road. And it would have been on the
yeah.
road. Columbus, South Bend, Eugene. But Curt Cignetti is not someone for self-imposed limitations. He decided to win the damn game. And so he's 17-2 as the head coach at Indiana. He is, what is it now? 11-1 in Big Ten play as a head coach at Indiana. Oregon's last home loss was November 2022. It's their second home loss since 2018. Oregon doesn't lose by double digits at home. I think that it's been something like 7, 8, 9 years since that happened.
They don't lose at home in general, yeah.
This is a type of win that is extremely rare in the sport of
Oh,
college football.
it's earth-shattering for some people. I know. I know it is. It has to be. Like, can you imagine being like a Oregon or a Big Ten, like a blue blood homer?
It's
If you're
crazy.
a Brett McMurphy, right? And you have to wake up and you have to think about that Indiana, like he has to come to Bloomington
Yeah.
and he has to get out of his, first class
It's-
airport lounges and all this stuff and travel down to Bloomington, Indiana to watch football games now because now we're a perennial program.
I mean, the teams that end up usually winning top 10, top 5, let's say top 5 road games. You go on the road and actually beat a top 5 team at their place. That's usually an accomplishment reserved for the juggernauts of college football. You're
Yep.
talking about Jim Harbaugh,
Ohio
Michigan,
State,
Ryan
Michigan,
Day,
yeah.
Urban Meyer, Ohio State. You know, the Dan Lanning Oregon Ducks when they went to Penn State and beat James Franklin's team a few weeks ago. But Oregon's had, even
Well,
before this season, Oregon's had, you know, impressive road wins where they've gone to an opposing team's house and won.
of course,
Texas,
yeah.
when
Yeah.
Texas went to Alabama a couple years ago in a non-conference game and won. We're talking about Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. You get an occasional sort of Baylor thrown in there, but I mean, absolute chills, absolute goosebumps. Matt, we've gone long enough on this podcast without saying the name Brian Haynes.
Yeah.
We
I
honestly could have
mean,
just said
just
his name at the start and just ended the episode. It's really
correct.
it's this whole
He's done a
game is really
remarkable
this whole
job.
game is really a Brian Haynes tweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And some people are gonna hate for me, hate that I'm going to say this, but we have to enjoy him while we have him because
For
that
for
guy is
another for
not
another three
he's
months.
not here next year. There's no way. There's just no way. There's not enough money in the world you could pay this guy to just keep him being a coordinator. Not just at IU. I mean, just in general. Like, I don't know why this guy doesn't get looks for head coaching jobs.
It's over.
He's
He
done
is now. I mean, this is
He
done.
has
Like,
to. He has to. He has to. He has to. I mean, just such an incredible job. Um, you know, low key, you know, bizarro world. Let's say Sig leaves IU,
uh-huh.
goes to Florida, hypothetical.
Oh boy.
I don't think I hate just promoting him to head coach,
Yeah.
right? And
I
so
don't think Cignetti's leaving. But
that
I know what
he's
you're
not
saying.
leaving.
I yeah.
In bizarro
Yeah.
hypothetical world,
I
the
don't.
Jeff Bezos
I don't.
decides to fund Florida football, and Cignetti gets $1 billion a year to coach. Like,
By the way, unless there's something I don't know as far as I don't know, conflict behind the scenes, Cignetti should not leave. Like it's not in his best interest to leave for another job. If he wants to retire,
no,
be my guest. But
yeah, no, he's not leaving.
he
I've seen
shouldn't
so
leave.
many people. He shouldn't leave. Why the fuck? Sorry, why the heck would he leave? Right? Don't get me plugged in about this. It's such a
Yeah.
stupid argument from people who know nothing about the IU football program, who just want to sit here and be like, "Why? Like, it's IU. Like, why the hell would you stay there? Like, come on, man. Are
It
you
ain't
watching what's happening on the field?
it
Are
ain't
you seeing what's
2023
happening?
anymore.
It's not. It's not even.
In the
Yeah,
sport. In
exactly.
the sport. Forget
Yeah.
Indiana. The sport is and by the way, same thing in men's basketball. The game is different now than it was 2 years ago. That's it.
Yep.
Money talks. TV contracts carry a lot of weight, and the SEC, as you know it, isn't what it is now. The playing
Nope.
field has been leveled, and Indiana is showing that as much as anyone, more than anyone. Yeah, Bryant Haynes, somebody with Ohio roots, obviously, tagged along with Cignetti, I believe. I don't know if it was back in the IUP days, but definitely at Elon into James
He's been with him
Madison.
for a long time.
Uh, it's just here's somebody who should be he should be
He
at the
should
top.
absolutely be considered.
At the top. If you're
I
if
mean, Broyles
you're
Award, right? I think he's the front runner for the Broyles Award
yes,
right now,
100%.
right? As the top assistant in the country, and those guys get hired
By the
as
way,
head
you know
coaches at top tier
who
programs.
probably was at the top before yesterday? Will Stein at Oregon,
Yeah, I
the
mean, but
offensive coordinator there.
that's even yeah, like that's the point. Like
Yeah,
you
king of the
show up
court,
to their
baby.
house, you king of the court, baby. Yeah, exactly. If IU runs the table the rest of the year, makes it to Columbus or makes it to play Ohio State, by the way, in Indianapolis, we don't have to play them in Columbus
Yeah.
for the first time in forever. I
Jeez.
like our chances in that game. I like
Oh,
our
remember that
chances
game?
against
Remember that
Ohio
game
State.
in Bloomington to start the 23 season? I think it was on CBS.
Yep.
It's an afternoon game. Marvin Harrison Jr. had like two catches, and Ohio State won by like 10.
Yep.
And it was
It
just
was
really funny.
uncomfy. They were not comfy.
No, they weren't. They
Okay.
weren't at all. And then, of course, yeah, last year Indiana went out to a 7-0 lead against them. But things turned after that. But like Oregon, you could tell in the third quarter. I always give a team halftime to adjust, especially a team with
Hmm.
the elite coaching staff of Oregon, where Dan Lanning is such a great CEO and Will Stein is so good at calling plays for that Ducks offense.
Yeah.
You could tell though in the third quarter they had no answers as far as
Yep.
their offense against what Bryant Haynes was giving them from a picture and personnel standpoint. You had the
It looked like
explosive play. You
chickens without a
had
head.
you had the
Yeah.
explosive play in the first quarter with Benson. You had couple of runs between the tackles that got, kind of chunky gains. But again, it was the one offensive touchdown and they really looked like they had had no edge anywhere. They I don't think Will Stein could expose Indiana up front. Will Stein couldn't
Oh,
expose Indiana's linebacking core, and he couldn't expose Indiana's secondary. You
I
had the
mean,
one bust by the safety, but other than that,
I
Will
mean,
Stein
by the
had no
way,
answer.
and I used two big games this year They've given up 2 touchdowns. Both touchdowns were blown
Busts.
coverages.
Yep.
Both of them were busts. If they don't mess up, if they don't kill themselves, they don't give up points.
And I don't know, maybe you get a bust a game just because of how downhill this defense likes to play. There's so much preparation going into the game, so much game planning that you know what Dante Moore's tendencies are. You know what Kenyon Sadiq's tendencies are as Oregon's starting tight end. You know what
Yeah.
Malik Benson and DeCorian Moore do out there. Gary Bryant as Oregon's receivers. Noah Whittington as Oregon's running back. And you're sitting there and you're saying, I know what's coming. I know what's coming. And then you know what? When the other coaching staff has amazing coaches, they'll get you once. They'll get you twice. Bielema's a great coach. You and I have said that for a long time.
Yeah.
Barry Lunney, the Illinois offensive coordinator, has been there for a long time. They're going to get you once or twice. But over the course of 60 minutes, over the course of what, 60, 70, 80 scrimmage plays, Indiana's defense wins out. The only
Yeah.
times they didn't were in Columbus and in South Bend. And like you can see that Indiana is taking a lot of lessons learned from those two games and applying them to what they've done this season. I mean, at the end of the day, Oregon put up 267 yards of offense. I believe only in the loss to Ohio State in the CFP did Dan Lanning's Oregon Ducks put up under 300 yards of total offense. And that was a game where Ohio State murdered Oregon from start to
Yeah.
finish.
Manhandled them.
267 on the board as far as total yards. Putrid yards per play performance for Oregon relative to what we've seen in typical seasons. Dante Moore, who was at times the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy,
Mhm.
comfortably putting up, 250 through the air this season, in addition to running every so often for scrambles, for designed runs to gain yardage. Last night, yesterday evening, whatever you want to call it, he put up 186 through the air with 2 interceptions. And after accounting for sacks, he has minus 27 rushing yards on his ledger. Um, Talking about that, Dante Moore had taken just 1 sack all season. Indiana got to him 6 times yesterday. 4 sacks, 6 sacks, including Aiden Fisher going out and getting 1.5. Matt, you and I had talked about Aiden Fisher, Mikhail Kamara, and D'Angelo Pons coming into the season. And we said Indiana's defense can trust these three guys. You can trust them. There are a lot of other question marks on this defense, but there are these three guys, three superstars that you can trust on a week-to-week basis to do their jobs. And every so often, folks would be like, D'Angelo Pons gave up a touchdown to Maryland last year. Or, oh, has Aiden Fisher done anything through a few weeks this season? Oh, where's Mikhail Kamara's sack production? I haven't seen it yet. Aiden Fisher, Matt, was a man on a mission yesterday. How
Uh,
how how
I think
important
it's
is
the
he
best
to
game
what
he's
this
played
defense?
in. I think
He's
that was his best
amazing.
game he's played. It was the best game he's played in a Hoosier uniform. I think yesterday. He
Was
was
he Indiana's best
so.
player yesterday? I mean, if not, who would you say was Indiana's best player yesterday?
I don't know if he was the best linebacker yesterday for IU though. Right? Like,
Rolijah
and
Hardy fan club? Rolijah Hardy Hive?
Kellen Wyatt
Kellen Wyatt?
is freaking amazing. Every time he's on the field, he makes a play.
And he was banged up yesterday.
Isaiah Jones has
Oh.
been fantastic. You
Hardy
know,
had 13
do
tackles.
you who was my favorite player on defense last year? You know exactly
Jalen
what who
Walker.
I'm gonna. Jalen Walker was my
Prison
favorite player on
Walker.
defense,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Lock him up.
Jalen Walker was my favorite player on defense last year. And the one thing we talked about
Yep.
going into the season was, can anybody replace Jalen Walker on this team? They've not only replaced him, they've upgraded him.
I was concerned.
Because
I was really concerned about that.
that was my biggest piece of
Yeah.
concern for the entire, well, I guess CJ West was actually my biggest concern, which, by the way, Tyreek Tucker has done a fantastic job filling
Incredible.
in for that. Incredible. But
Stephen Daly, big game
Stephen
yesterday.
Daly's
He
Stephen
was
Daly
a lead blocker.
with one of he was the lead
Fullback Stephen Daly.
fullback Stephen, but also made the second biggest play of the game, which was
Yes.
batting that pass
Yeah.
up into the air, giving the defense
Jose
the ability to
Wheeler,
intercept
baller.
Jose Wheeler, baller. The defense upgraded all across the board, but especially in those in outside inside linebacker position. We're in a linebacker
Yeah,
position
we
because
got a
I
little,
don't know
there's a little
their
hybrid.
lingo, the
Yeah.
hybrid, whatever. Isaiah Bones Jones and
Oh,
Kellen Wyatt are two difference makers on that
no.
defense. They've taken this defense from a defense that was stout, methodical, aggressive, but not overly aggressive,
Right.
into demonic.
Monsters. Yeah.
Demonic. Like this defense, it like will give offensive coordinators nightmares. Like you said, they attack, they attack, they attack. They're
Downhill.
so
Downhill
downhill.
football.
Downhill football. Wyatt and Jones, both those guys are always attacking downfield. They're in the backfield, they're getting sacks, they're disrupting plays. If they're not tackling somebody, they're forcing somebody into running into a lane that they weren't supposed to be running into.
Yeah.
Like they're making plays all over the place, and they're making Aiden Fisher's life easier. They're making uh the secondary's lives easier, right? And everybody's playing better because of these guys.
Yeah.
And they're playing better as a whole.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean
I
Aiden
will
Fisher's
run through a wall for Aiden Fisher.
Aiden Fisher's the most important player on
He's
our team.
the core middle linebacker.
He's the quarterback of the defense,
Yeah.
right? And he's our little green dot out there, right? He's the guy that talks to Bryant Haynes on the microphone. Uh, and he's the one you can
I
always see
know.
him communicating stuff pre-snap, right? And I think
There,
that's been
Matt,
getting better.
there are going to be NFL teams that say Aiden Fisher's not fast enough. Aiden Fisher's not athletic enough. And those are the NFL teams that consistently end up with 4 wins a year.
It's going to be like Carolina and such. Yeah, I know.
The NFL team that picks up Aiden Fisher, I guarantee you, is going to be an NFL team that, is coming off of, a couple of playoff runs as of recent
Yeah,
times. It's going to be,
yeah.
San Francisco, the Rams, Kansas City. It's going to be one of those teams
The
that,
Eagles could use
that's
him.
what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I mean, I don't know where he landed yesterday. I feel like he finished with maybe 13 tackles yesterday, something like that. I'm spitballing off the top of my head, but like 1.5 sacks, absolutely legendary performance. Indiana's team was outstanding on defense, and we'll talk more about some big picture stuff here in a moment. But other other defensive notes and nuggets I just wanted to throw out there. It was pretty profound to me to see Indiana sack Dante Moore on the first play of the game.
Yeah. That
I
sent a
typically
message right out the
I
gate.
typically don't get caught up in all of that. I typically don't get caught up in all of that.
Mm,
It's one play out of, 150, 140 across both sides of the ball. That that felt significant. Mario Landino,
mm.
I think, was on it. Maybe Tyreek Tucker. Um, that felt important. Um, Matt, I don't know. Maybe it's because it was a day game, but even before the game yesterday, I don't know. Maybe it was the vibe I was getting off of Game Day, ESPN's College Game Day show in the morning. It did not feel as hostile as Columbus or South Bend. Do you agree?
I mean, from reports on the ground, Oregon fans are quite nice, actually.
It didn't
But
come
no,
through
I
on
mean, like
TV
I
as like a
on
real
TV,
cauldron
uh,
of, intimidation.
no. But I also think that
We
does
probably
have.
took him out of it too.
That's what I was about to say. I think that does have something to do with what Indiana did. in that game
Yeah,
more than when Oregon. They popped off when Oregon hit that long touchdown.
yeah,
That kind of came through a little bit,
a
right?
little bit. Pick
And it's just
six.
Indiana's on these little dink and dunk, slow, method. I'm not even thinking dunks.
Steady,
I mean,
in
so steady,
control.
steady, in control. Because dink and dunk means like we're getting 3 or 4 yards of play.
Yeah, it was like
They,
eight,
they were hitting
seven,
10
6.
yard
Yeah,
plays, 7, 8, 10 yard plays, right? Like these slow but methodical drives down the field. And yeah, and we took them
incredible.
out of the game. And so yeah, of course I don't think that it's the
Yeah, so
same
it's probably that
as
more than
Columbus
anything.
or
Yeah, sure.
but also
Um, yeah.
I think we have a little bit of PTSD when it comes to that. I'm not gonna lie. Playing in those
Yeah, I don't.
environments, you know?
Because think about that, right? Because Indiana's not just as much as you may be surprised by this. Indiana's not just a team full of 1 year transfer guys, right? Like Carter
Yeah.
Smith. Carter Smith has played in Autzen. He's played now. He's played in Autzen, but he's played at Ohio State. He's played at Michigan. He's played at Penn State. Um, Pat Coogan, of course, he's a 1 year transfer, but he's been in a lot of big game environments.
Yeah.
You know. Indiana's got guys that have been around for a while. Isaiah Jones, you talked about him. He was on the Tom Allen roster before Allen
Yeah, he
was
was.
replaced by Cignetti. Yeah, Isaiah Jones is a Tom Allen recruit. Kellen Wyatt and Roman Hemby obviously have had that Big Ten big game experience. Other notes and nuggets, just sort of one-liners I'm throwing out here. Yeah, Tyreek Tucker is my favorite player to watch on defense. I know I talked to you about how I'd run. I don't think he's the best. I don't think Tyree Tucker is the best. Um,
Okay.
Tyree Tucker is my favorite player to watch on defense. He is a problem for every interior offensive line that Indiana faces. He is
He's
nimble.
so
He is smart.
he's
Tyreek
he's
Tucker,
nimble.
multiple times
He's
this season, has doubled back on screen passes with anticipation to affect the quarterback's vision, what the offense is trying to do. He's tackling guys behind the line, in front of the line. He's flying around for a guy at his size, and I'm blown away.
That's what I'm saying. He's so nimble for a chunky
Yeah,
man like himself.
just
He's big
absolute,
boned, that
just an
guy.
absolute wagon. Lewis Moore, man, Lewis Moore, you dog. I mean, wait, you were
Playmaker.
you were exploring greener grass elsewhere for a year at Ole Miss, and of course, Lewis Moore does also fall under the category of hey, he's a Tom Allen guy who has seen all sorts of hostile Big Ten road environments. He's
See,
back, gets the
these
clutch pick in the fourth quarter. Man, absolute.
you
God, what a story.
out of everyone on this team, I think I'm actually the happiest for Lewis
Yeah,
Moore
me too.
because
I think
I
so.
see I
I'm sure
see
there's, yeah,
his journey. Like we've seen him when he played at
documentary
IU
stuff.
before, right? Yeah. And he goes back to Ole Miss. He goes to Ole Miss and it just doesn't work out. And he comes back and now is having the season of his life.
Yeah.
Like it's perfect. It's actually perfect. And he's exactly what we needed in the secondary too.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
needed a big hitting, sure tackling safety. And we went out and got him. And he just happened to be already very familiar with Bloomington, which is awesome.
So good. So good.
Different
Um,
coaching staff too, right? Like so dope.
Different coaching staff also. He just, college, sometimes the college beats everything out. Like the good old days. I play for the program on the front of the jersey.
That's right.
Brings a tear to my eye. I will talk more about this Indiana win over Oregon. Talk about some big picture stuff here. It's kind of a casual wrap up conversation Matt and I are having. We'll talk a little bit about Michigan State also, because Indiana plays
Yep.
another Big Ten game on Saturday on Peacock.
What what time is that at?
I'll tell you after I tell you who won the week this past week
Got it.
in IU sports, and I have to give a shout out to everyone. Everyone wins. Men's soccer wins, women's soccer wins, but okay. The volleyball team in particular
Yeah.
has reached a new
Heights.
altitude. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are
Coach Aird,
rolling.
Coach Aird got
Believe
them girls
they
playing. Yeah.
Coach Steve Aird, who by the way, when he took over from the time he took over at Indiana, he believed in Indiana volleyball as much as anyone, if not more than anyone. Um, very approachable guy. Um, good rep. Anyway, all I'm saying is like I believe Indiana got the highest ranking, recorded ranking in school history, top 25. And by the way, this is an Indiana team that's made the NCAA tournament before. It made this, I believe they made the Sweet 16
Yeah.
as far as the volleyball tournament's concerned, but this is the highest ranking in school history, getting cracking the top 20 after a Hollywood sweep of ranked UCLA and USC. IU came back home. No rat poison. They beat Washington. I can't remember if that was before the West Coast trip, but then I know they came back to the Midwest and went to Ann Arbor and won. They're in East Lansing today on Sunday, 14-1, with the only loss
Huge.
on the road to a very good Western Kentucky team that's on the cusp of the top 25. And I would not be surprised if the Hilltoppers made the NCAA tournament. Wilkinson Hall is a great place to watch a volleyball game. I would highly recommend going if you haven't already. There should be some massive environments coming up. IU also plays at Gainbridge Fieldhouse against Purdue on Thursday. What great timing to capitalize on the momentum that this program has. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one in Indianapolis this week. Folks, a reminder, if you'd like to follow us, if you'd like to retweet our stuff, that kind of stuff really makes a big difference. So if you enjoy our show, leave us a review, tell a friend, share our links. That kind of support really helps us grow this podcast and reach more passionate IU fans such as yourself. You can find us on social media at Indiana HQ or at the Hoosier Sound, wherever you find your social media stuff. Again, like, share, retweet, tell a friend. That type of stuff really makes a big difference.
It does.
Matt, to answer your question from earlier, we play Michigan State at 3:30 on Peacock on Saturday afternoon,
Oh,
which
I'm sick of these 3:30 starts, man.
in in China is not ideal for Hoosier Nation out there. But look,
Whatever.
ideally for you, Matt, Indiana sort of shows up, has a clean hour and a half,
Take care
and
of business. Yes, yes.
and
I would
cruises
like
from there.
that.
We'll
I'd
talk
like
about
to see
Michigan.
some freshmen playing when I go to sleep.
Kobe Martin breakout, another 100
Exactly.
wins.
Precisely.
Um, and so we'll talk a little bit more in depth about this Michigan State game. But first, like just big picture, Matt. I mean, how high can this team fly? Can we say the B word? Is it live? Indiana's banner chances they're in play, right? I mean, you beat all these teams by a million. You beat Illinois by a million. You go to Oregon, you win by 10. Ohio State's a machine. I mean, CFP is a lock for IU. I mean, just go on about the big picture for this Indiana football team for the rest of this season and beyond.
Okay, so I kind of talked about this
Yep.
previously. Where I was like, I'm waiting to see how the team does at Illinois, right? The Illinois game. And
Yep.
I'm waiting to see how they show up in Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Before
Makes
I
sense.
make a statement on this team. After seeing both of those, which by the way, they passed with flying colors.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this is a national championship winning roster
Yep. Coaching
and
staff,
coach
team,
and
everything.
coaching
Fan
staff,
base. Yeah.
team, everything going on. They can win a national championship this year.
No,
Now,
you've seen some of the great SEC teams over the years. And there have been a lot of great teams that haven't won it all. Like, as someone who grew
of
up in
course,
Florida, I
yeah,
mean, look,
yeah.
like you're serious here. You're saying
I'm
This Indiana team in 2025, I know the game's different now than it was even 2 years ago, but like you're saying this team can win it all.
I am never hyperbolic. I mean, when it comes to basketball, I think my takes are sometimes very hyperbolic. when it comes to football, I think I'm about as level-headed as it comes because that is again the bread and butter what I grew up with. I was a Florida Gators fan for
Yep.
most of my,
You've seen the Saban teams.
childhood.
You've
I've seen the
seen,
Nick Saban teams, the Les Mile LSU
yep.
teams. Like I've been around SEC football for most of my life. I know what I'm talking about when I'm watching football teams, and I'm telling you, at all three phases, IU is a championship winning team. They have the coaching staff of a championship winning team. They have the
Mentality.
coordinators and the mentality and the fight of a national championship winning team. They have a Ferrari at quarterback. That is something you need for a championship winning team. You have skill position players that are always open in Sarratt and Omar Cooper, who just make the right plays. You have a running back room that only falls forward, right?
Oh
And you have a
gosh.
defense that is full of playmaking, ball hawking psychopaths. Like, this team, there is not a weakness on this team. There's not.
Is
We
there an
thought it was.
offensive line?
I don't even think. No, we Oregon's offensive line is amongst one of the best in the country, and I think handled them
I
very
know.
solidly.
Fair.
Right?
Very true.
I Of course a good offensive line is going to struggle against a bad defensive line every once in a while. You saw that a couple times during the game. I don't think they struggled demonstratively.
Yeah.
I don't think there was some obvious thing that happened in that game where it was like, well, here we go again. I've seen this before. No, nothing like that at all. I genuinely think I think this team is made for the long haul. To go the whole way. Now, that being said, to win a national title, you need luck, right? And
Sure.
that luck is injury luck, staying
Yeah,
healthy,
for sure.
and I guess the one weakness IU does have is they
Easier
do lack
matchups in the
depth.
CFP, right? Like you don't want to face Georgia and Atlanta, for example, if it comes to that.
I was just talking about what I've
Yeah.
seen as an SEC homer bringing it over. The new playoff. I must sound like an old man, but the new playoff stuff is new to
Newfangled
me. Like
technology.
having to worry about the bracket in football is a new thing for my brain to handle, right? Like, and
Uh-huh.
you're right though. Like, you do have to get some favorable matchups in those rounds, right? Um, but no, what I'm saying, the only weakness this IU team has, I said they had no weakness, but the only weakness they actually really have is depth, right? So if you
Sure.
stay healthy, like I don't see why this team can't be playing in February, right? Or was it like late January, right?
Yeah.
So
I completely agree. I know there are times here where I like, I would like to sort of poke holes in what you're saying, but like, they check all the boxes. They check
all
all
of
the
the
boxes.
boxes, all of the
You
boxes.
know, quarterback that can
And
make all the throws, coaching staff that knows what the heck that they're doing, game planning, adjustments, front front four defensively, offensive line, especially at the tackle, especially at the tackle and the left tackle and the center positions. Secondary, special teams. I was not sure about the special teams coming into the season. You were talking about, Indiana's linebacker outside of Aiden Fisher. I'm sitting here, I'm like, can you trust like Nico Radicic beyond 40 yards? What happens if you need a 50 yarder to win a game? What's the punter gonna look like? Kick
yeah,
coverage, punt coverage. What's the situation there? Just A plus. A pluses across the board from a special team standpoint. If Frankie not only hit the 58 yarder yesterday, but like his touchback rate is astronomical. I don't think it's 100%. I think it's like 98%. Just every
yeah.
every team starts with the ball at their own 25 when they face Indiana because he just pummels it out of the end zone. Like, we don't gotta talk about this. We don't gotta ask questions about this. Indiana checks all the boxes. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy to talk about banners in college football when it comes to Indiana. Um,
Insanity, man.
because I like Indiana Notre Dame on a neutral site. I'm taking Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana LSU on a neutral site. I'm taking Indiana, even if that game's in New Orleans, which that would be unfortunate. But Indiana LSU, I'm taking Indiana. Indiana Georgia neutral site. I'm taking Indiana. I think Texas Tech is really good. I do. I think Texas Tech is an awesome team. I'm still taking Indiana. Texas
Yeah.
Tech reminds me a little bit of what Indiana was last season. Um, Indiana, Oklahoma, Indiana on a neutral site.
Yeah.
Indiana A&M, Indiana on a neutral site. Indiana Ole Miss. You watch Ole Miss yesterday against Washington State and taking Indiana on a
Yeah.
neutral site. Indiana, Oregon, saw that. I mean, I like look, last year you did have Oregon lose at Ohio State lose at Oregon before returning the favor in the national championship game. Sorry, in the Rose Bowl. I would like to avoid Oregon when we talk about matchups to avoid in the bracket. I'd
Yeah.
like to avoid Oregon. Give me somebody else. Indiana, Miami. I might lean Miami, just the way things have gone this year. But we're talking about games where even if Indiana's an underdog, it's 3 points, it's 5 points, it's maybe seven to Ohio State. Crazy times. I think you're spot on. I think Indiana is just as capable as anyone of winning a national championship this season. The sports books agree. Sports books agree. Indiana's basically top four, top five, top six as far as national title odds. They're second as far as Big Ten title odds after Ohio State, naturally. Um, Crazy times. I guess my out of left field take on this a little bit is I I don't think I want Indiana to host a playoff game in the sense of give me the bye and take me straight to neutral sites. Give me the bye where Indiana is a what is it? Is it top four that get buys in this bracket?
Yeah.
What I don't want
That's in
is
play.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm assuming when the AP poll comes out Sunday afternoon, Indiana's going to be at least third or better. Um, you take care of business at Penn State. If you're 12-1 with a loss to Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, I think you should be a top four team. If that happens, you get the bye. Give me the bye. I don't want to play an
Yeah.
extra game in this field.
Mm. Mm.
I don't want to. I don't want weather to derail Indiana's natty hopes. I don't want to get into a snowy, slushy Bloomington winter night, similar to the one we saw against Purdue, but of course Purdue. But like, especially in the Ryan Walters era. But like, give me, and I understand, like, if Indiana plays a home game, sure, it's probably against Alabama, it's probably against Georgia, which is hilarious to see an SEC team playing in those conditions. But like, just, let's go. Let's go straight to the neutral games. Give me a roof. Give me an SEC opponent and let's play football. So, I'm like sitting here and I'm saying, let's rock and roll as far as that's concerned. I don't really want to mess around with snow slush. So, I don't know. That's probably gonna upset some people, but like if these are the sacrifices we have to make to get Indiana a national championship, then so be it. Um, let's talk about Michigan State here in just a sec, Matt, but real quick, a social media shout out. Folks, again, a reminder, if you enjoy our show, leave us a review, tell a friend, share our links. That kind of support really helps us grow this podcast and reach more passionate IU fans such as yourself. Again, you can find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, at Indiana HQ and at the Hoosier Sound. Man, on Instagram, we're not Indiana HQ, but what are we?
Indiana.HQ.
You can find us there. Again, join the masses, folks. Especially very active on X on Twitter. So if you haven't followed us yet, please be sure to do so. Men's basketball tweets start in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You'll have those two. You'll have those two. We're your one-stop shop for IU Sports, the official podcast for Indiana HQ. Let's roll from there. Matt, on Saturday afternoon, Indiana takes on Michigan State. And the Spartans are struggling. They are 3-3 on the season with second-year head coach Jonathan Smith. Quarterback Aiden Childs left the game yesterday against UCLA with an injury, a game that Michigan State lost 38-13 in East Lansing. The vibes are not high with the Spartans. And now they come to Bloomington for a 3:30 start on Peacock in a game where Indiana right now is a 24.5 point favorite. How does this go sideways for Indiana, Matt? Is there a way at all?
No, I mean just lose focus, I guess, would be the most reasonable way that would happen. But I'm when have we seen a
Did the
Coach
did the
Cignetti team
yeah
do that? Right?
at, at Michigan State last year for a quarter
For a quarter.
for a quarter?
And it was at Michigan State. This is at home. We're coming
Yeah,
back home after winning at
sellout
Oregon.
sellout
It's a
crowd.
sellout crowd. Homecoming.
Yeah, true.
Come on now. Come on now.
I will say Michigan
No,
State. Yeah,
I do hope we don't come out with a sluggish start. I want us I would like to go to bed by the end of the first quarter. Thank you very much. That's all I'm saying.
first quarter
And
is early, Matt. That's early.
I do think this
Tough
game
one.
could get ugly. This game could get ugly fast. And Michigan State slow on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
They're
I will say
slow.
they have good like trenches. They're good at running the ball. They're good at stopping the run.
They're like Wisconsin, but only slightly better than the current version of
Ugh.
Wisconsin. But not even. But this Wisconsin tries to spread the ball out. So I'm not even. They're like a worse Iowa, but with like a quarterback that should be better than how he's playing, and they should have skill position players, but they don't. I don't like this Michigan State team. They make me uncomfortable watching them, and I'm not even a fan of the team. Right? Like I just watch this team play, and I go, "There's so many things wrong. They're
I didn't even
uninspiring."
like their jersey choice yesterday. I don't know if you saw what they wore against UCLA.
I that was my eyes
Eh,
bled a little
Yeah.
bit watching that as well.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
like I said, everything that surrounds that football program right now. I'm like,
And they're not a
man,
dumpster fire, you know? They beat Boston
not
College this
they're not a
year.
dumpster
They
fire, but
competed
they are
against USC
garbage.
and the they are the dumpster.
Yeah, they're just not on fire yet. They're just the dumpster. Like it is what it is.
That's not nice. That's not nice.
I mean, their fans would be the first one to tell you they want to ship their coach to Guantanamo
Oh
Bay.
man. Yeah. You and I were talking before we hit record today, but like I guess you and I disagree on this, but if we rewind back to the 2023 Scott Dolson job search after letting go of Tom Allen, I looked at Jonathan Smith at Oregon State and I was like, this guy is doing a lot of things at Oregon State that I want to see happen at Indiana. Like, there's development of quarterbacks there. The fan base was really engaged in the final season of Pac-12 play, and I couldn't have been more wrong. Dolson saw
That whole
something.
s- that whole situation was stinky smelly to me. I didn't like any bit of that. Well, not one bit.
Indiana
I
dodged a
didn't.
bullet.
Yeah, we did. But I mean,
I mean, well,
went.
no, that
We
that
both
that
talked to
implies that
we.
implies luck. That implies luck. Scott Dolson
No, no. Listen,
locked in
went
on
out and
Curt
hired.
Cignetti. Yeah.
Well, we both talked about it when IU was going out to make the coaching hire. The best
Yeah.
coaching hire at the time was Cignetti for us. There
You
was
know,
not a better hire.
on Indiana HQ, we've got 10,000 followers or so. Um, I sent out a poll the day the Curt Cignetti news broke that Indiana reportedly was going to hire him as IU's next head coach. And I said, like, do you approve of Curt Cignetti as the choice for Indiana's next head coach? 96% of people said yes.
It was always a good
Talk
hire.
about talk about a beacon of unity. Curt Cignetti got 96% of people Scott Dolson and Curt Cignetti got 96% of people to agree on something.
He was so obviously the correct choice. It wasn't even like you had to be living under a rock to think differently, right?
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with that. Yeah, Indiana's a 24.5 point favorite here. You guys can do the research yourself. I'm not sure the last time Matt and I were talking about this, the last time Indiana's a 24.5 point favorite against Michigan State. Michigan State's had some really good
Yeah.
teams over the years, especially Mark D'Antonio. A lot of people are like, who's Cignetti like? I think Cignetti's kind of similar to what Mark D'Antonio did at Michigan State. If you want to comparison that you really haven't heard of much. Like, I don't think it's Saban. I don't think it's, some of these other guys that you've heard thrown out as comparisons to what Sig is doing. I see a lot of Cignetti, Mark D'Antonio similarities. And the funny thing is, D'Antonio, I believe, took over for Saban at Michigan State, which is pretty funny. The weather looks to be maybe a little rainy on Saturday in Bloomington, but it'll be warm, and so it shouldn't be too much of a hurdle for Indiana to overcome. Matt, I think Indiana wins this game 52-7. I think, as you said, this is a Michigan State team. They'll hit a run play or two like Oregon did yesterday. They'll make life a little bit difficult for Indiana as far as IU's run game is concerned. Um, 52-7. I think Fernando Mendoza will throw for at least four touchdowns. USC, and like part of the problem is like it was more competitive than it should have been. But USC put up 523 yards of total offense, and like it could have been more. It
It
could have
could
been
have been a
more.
lot more.
It
They
could
could
have
have
been.
destroyed them.
52-7. I think UCLA put up 418 balanced attack. UCLA won 38-13 yesterday against Michigan State. I think this is 52-7 territory. Kobe Martin, 50 yards and a touchdown. Um, how do you see this game, Matt? Who do you have winning and by how much?
Indiana by covering.
Yeah,
I think let's say 48-3.
I love it. I love it. Super. That's how we see this all going. Just real quick, Matt, a lot of fun stuff are going around across the Big Ten. Um, Indiana and Ohio State are the only unbeatens. Bunch of teams with one loss in conference play. Five teams, including Michigan State, are winless in league play. You and we're going to give all of you our first look at the Big Ten slate for the weekend of October 18th and give you one or two picks of the week that kind of stand out, that we're kind of interested in, that have caught our attention. I will just come out flat and say Iowa is going to cover any number at home against Penn State on Saturday night. Iowa is a competent football team with a good coach, sensible
Penn State
group of
is not.
guys. Penn State
Yeah.
is not. And Iowa's going to get a home game at night coming off a game where they really destroyed Wisconsin. Um, Iowa minus anything. I mean, if it crosses three, look at it, but Iowa minus anything. And my upset is there are a lot of good options here on this slate.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's- no, I can't. I can't. Um, give me Purdue. Give me Purdue straight up at
Oh,
Northwestern. Purdue's getting
okay.
a field goal right now. Give me Purdue straight up. I'll hear what you have to say, and then I'll say the one that I almost said.
Give me the Trojans.
Okay, that was gonna be mine. Yeah, all right.
Give me the Trojans.
That's
I think USC
I
walks
know.
into Notre
I
Dame
know.
and hits some Irish dumb lovey people
The reverse clover.
up the side of the head. Yeah, give me the Trojans and then also give me Minnesota this
Hmm.
weekend to win. It's a weird Friday night game. Nebraska's traveling.
Sure.
I like the Gophers at home.
Is that a trophy game? Can't
I
remember.
think so.
Nebraska, Minnesota. Indiana, Michigan State's a trophy game.
It is
The old brass
Rasputin,
spittoon.
baby.
Who'd you take? You took USC to cover, or did you take them to win?
USC USC to win
Ooh.
and Minnesota to win. Both.
Straight bypassing the spread option. I like that. Um, Ohio State at Wisconsin is nasty. That is nasty stuff.
That's gonna be if
Oh
you've ever hate
man.
I hate Wisconsin
Oh,
fans. So that might actually be must watch TV for me because that just watching their misery is gonna be fun. Does that
that's
make me a
nasty.
bad person?
No, no. Because what it all goes back to is that Brett Bielema one afternoon decided to put up 83 points on Indiana.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, go from there.
Also, the many years that Wisconsin basketball has plagued us.
Ah, yeah. Still continue to do so.
True.
Any final thoughts here as we wind down on the Sunday, man? Anything that we may have missed? Anything as it relates to IU football? Anything relates to college football? Any fun games, score lines that you saw yesterday that caught your attention? Is any final comments as you wind down here on this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, IU has no is no longer the Cinderella story that everybody thought that we were,
Yeah,
or at least the national media did. I mean, us people that followed the team very closely all knew, that this team was a juggernaut. Um,
yeah.
and now we're gonna be to get taken seriously, which is nice, but also comes with a little bit of, a little bit of trepidation because that means IU now has a target on its back, right? And
The
you're not
hunted.
just, yeah, we're the hunted and we're not the huntee anymore, right?
Hunter. I think we are the huntee now. I
Hun-
think we're not the hunter.
Man, that just sounded so much more fun than whatever. We are the hunter now,
Yeah,
or we were the
yeah,
hunter. Now we're
yeah, yeah,
now we're the huntee.
yeah. Okay, all right,
I got it. All right, all
sure.
right. And so now we're the hunted. So now we have to
Yep.
figure out what it's like to play as a favorite, which is
Yeah.
not something
I
that
mean,
we're used to. But
the
look,
where a bad quarter sends a fan base into insanity, right? Like in the sense of, if you're down at half to Penn State on the road in Happy Valley, people are going to lose their mind.
that's an insane statement. I
But it's
did
true.
not expect us to be talking. You're right. You're right. You're
But it's
absolutely
true.
right.
If
Will
you're up
Penn
one
State even
score
have?
against Maryland on the road in the second half, people are going to go crazy.
I do think there's gonna be something weird that goes on. I already know it. You know how hard it is to play a team that
I
just
know.
fired their head
I
coach?
know. But to me, the
And
weird game,
that Penn State game. I'm staring at the Penn State
I
game.
know.
Something
I
weird.
know.
They're gonna fire Franklin the week because
Maybe.
they have a bye week before we play them. They're gonna fire him in the bye week,
No,
and we're
that's
gonna be
not true,
playing
Matt.
in
That's not true. That's not true. They play at Ohio State before
Ohio
they play
State.
us.
Okay, sorry, they're gonna fire him on the tarmac after Ohio State, and then we're gonna play them next week. It's gonna be funky. Sorry, you're right.
You want a left field take for me? The weird game is not going to be at Penn State. I think the real weird panic button sort of things aren't going right game is Black Friday night at Purdue. I think that one gets a little weird. I think Dave Odom, Barry Odom, Coach Odom at Purdue is going to push some buttons under the lights at Rossade, and they have a pulse. Like Purdue has a pulse. Penn State does not. Michigan State does not. Relative to Purdue especially. Um, Maryland could get a little bit weird, but I think Maryland they might have just taken a couple of home losses that really sort of shake their core a little bit. The home loss to Washington, home loss to Nebraska, I think might lead to some quit factor for Maryland coming up
U-
here.
UCLA's feisty.
UCLA is looking better. They are. I am seeing that game in Bloomington, so I'm like, all right, it's Bloomington. Purdue, night game, end of the season. I don't know if Purdue's going to be fighting for bowl eligibility. We'll see. I have Purdue beating Northwestern this weekend this upcoming weekend for a reason. I think that's the one that gets a little bit funky. And hey, I hope I'm wrong. But it's the top tier of college football. Just like you said, Matt. Indiana is the Goliath now.
Yep.
This isn't yeah, like you said, not a Cinderella, not a plucky underdog, not an upstart story.
This is not some
This
fluke.
is
No.
Indiana's a monster now.
It's insane. I don't know how we got here.
Indiana is I don't know if Indiana's the villain, but Indiana is not a fun, adorable success story. This is Titan time.
Yeah.
Indiana's a heavyweight in the sport of college football.
Insanity.
And that is not an exaggeration. Ask Dan Lanning, ask Brett Bielema. And I'm sure even Ryan Day and Marcus Freeman would agree too. Like Kirk Ferentz would agree. Like just heavyweight. This is where we are.
Mm.
Crazy times, to say the least. But folks, that about wraps it up for our 353rd show, The Hoosier Sound. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your support to hear more fantastic episodes like the one you heard today. Be sure to follow us at Indiana HQ or at The Hoosier Sound to make sure you don't miss any in the future. You can also go to our website, indianahq.com, to find it all in one place. But as always, thank you for listening, Hoosier Nation, and we will see you next time.
Peace and love. Go Hoosiers.